as the field prepares in the dummy grid area at the moment for round 7 of the Goodyear Car and His Club Laces series. It'll be held over 8 laps, and again, much like the Nissan Pulsar series, we're moving to a very, very interesting portion with the second last round to come at Oran Park next weekend, and then the final back here at Amaroo on August the 1st. The man who leads the series at the moment is Ken Douglas with 50 points, Peter Dane second with 41, Mark Gibbs third with 38, and Mark Scaife in fourth with 37. So you can see they're fairly tightly bunched in terms of points. They're also fairly tightly bunched on the grid. Let's have a look at it now. And on the front row of the grid is David Brabham, car number 43. Alongside him, Mark Gibbs in car number 13. The second row of the grid, Peter Dane, car 41. Alongside him is John Giddings, car number 39. On the third row of the grid, Garry Cooke, car number 88, and Phil Alexander, car 35. Behind him is Jones, car 77. Richard Mork, the man alongside him in the red car number 9. The next row consists of Spencer and Gardner, cars 80 and 10. And behind them, Clinton and Robinson, 31 and 24. So they are the top 12, determined by their finishing order of the first heat, which was held earlier on today. And in fact, it was pretty exciting stuff. We might take a look at some of the action that consisted in that first heat of some dramatic motor racing. So, pretty wet conditions. The first man down and out, car number 19, was Graham Blanche. Yes, the front missing off the Ford Laser. Then, across the top of the mountain, it was Ken Douglas who got all out of shape, and it was Scaife who said, "Thank you very much, but I don't really want to park this way." A real hazard to the health. Coming out of the right-hander at the late corner, car number 31, out of shape, John Clinton in the black car, and then Shane Press took the left-hand side off the Ford Laser. David Brabham, car number 43, the man who'll lead them away in this, the second heat. And if it's half as exciting as the first one, Garry, it'll be a beauty.
Well, a couple of cars missing from this lineup, I can tell you now. But Brabham really did it well and survived an awful lot of pressure in that earlier heat today. And if he can do the same again, then he really has come a fair way in motor racing in the last 12 months, because Mark Gibbs is a man, and this is him, who's renowned for his muscle tactics on the circuit. No, it's true.
You're right.
And he really served it up to Brabham in that earlier preliminary event, and I think you'll find that he's going to try and do it again. And the safest way out for Brabham is to put his foot down and be the quickest away, and to try and hold the lead throughout, because the pressure will be severe if Gibbs can get close to him.
For Brabham, it's been fairly topsy-turvy. Oh, and there's the back of Shane Williams' car. Look at that back left-hand side of the Laser without a rear window by the look of it, with now just less than 30 seconds to go before the start. I was about to say that Brabham's had a fairly topsy-turvy run in this series, including really knocking around the car at Oran Park 2 meetings ago. And this by far is his best performance so far in the series. 10 seconds now remaining before the start. 8 laps the journey, round 7 of the Goodyear Car and His Club series. Revs build, national flag dropped, and Gibbs makes a very good jump alongside him. Brabham, Peter Dane comes up as well, side by side to the top of Bitchapay for the first time. Richard Mork, car number 9, getting in there as well. And goodness me, drama already. Shane Williams makes advantage out of that and moves up about 4 spots, but it's Brabham in second. Mark Gibbs comes down the outside for first. Peter Dane in third. I think the next man then would have been 39, perhaps John Giddings.
Peter Dane and Mark Gibbs are the two who can benefit most from this race as far as the overall series is concerned, currently in second and third placings in the series. And of course, series leader Ken Douglas is missing from the lineup, having been one of the victims of the earlier event.
Down to Honda Corner for the first time, and the run to the lake. Brabham missing out on the start, has dropped into second spot, and he's holding that well over Dane as they come down to the lake corner, the right-hander. And the first one through is going to be Mark Gibbs. Underneath our speed camera, see how close some of these cars travel to the concrete wall here, particularly some back in the middle stages of the pack. So out of that corner, then of course back across the line, heading up the hill again. Number 13, Mark Gibbs, will lead, with Brabham now starting to put the pressure on, and they're going to make it 3 wide over the top as they drop into Dunlop Loop. Here's Gibbs. Brabham has won the lead back. Yes, he has. Some good driving there from young David Brabham through the corner, but he's left the gate open there. You can put a Mack truck through.
Well, they almost put 2 through.
And he's caught 1 out, but he's going to race Gibbs down here on the outside.
He's a brave boy.
There's not much room there if you go off the course.
It's going to pay off, though.
No, it's not. Oh. And Brabham finding the quick line through the rough, and I think he might beat them to the corner. Here he comes. Oh. That's the fast line around Amaroo Park.
Oh, no.
Hasn't dropped a spot. Something Dad taught him. Just ask Jack. Coming down to the lake. And kept control of that car rather well. Unorthodox, but he kept control of it. And once again, they come back in the run to Wonderlick Corner, where obviously Gibbs is going through. Giddings has made his way up, probably up to about third at this stage, and Brabham's still hanging in there.
Oh, goodness me, he did drop a spot after all that, but it wasn't a bad piece of work, was it, to keep control of the car and to get back on the racetrack. Mark Gibbs, the leader. Peter Dane in second spot. John Giddings, David Brabham, and then Phil Alexander.
Gibbs and Dane now get at it.
Second and third respectively in the championship. Dane with 41, Gibbs with 38 points.
This is where the fight is going to be for the major slice of points for round 7.
Gibbs a very, very aggressive 28-year-old.
Brabham's not giving up without a fight. He's got back to third place. Gave John Giddings what for as he went past. He's got a lot of ground, though, to make up on Gibbs and Dane. Coming down to the lake corner once more. Gibbs, a length and a half ahead of Peter Dane, and a fair stretch then, about 45, 50 metres to David Brabham on the main straight once more.
Yes, he's got a long way to make up, but that's not to say Gibbs and Dane aren't going to get involved in something here. They like to race it fairly close.
Dane has a go over the top of the hill. No, discretion's the better part of it.
Gibbs hangs in there, puts the front wheel over the ripple strip.
Awful close to those concrete-filled tyres, too.
Yes, but manages to hold the lead. Car number 13 getting it up on 2. Coming down to Mazda corner. Dane trying everything to get on equal terms with him. That's where Brabham went off the last time round. Dropping into the left-hander now at Honda corner.
Well, Brabham's getting closer again in third place, and Giddings behind him in fourth. And there seems to be some newfound form in the Brabham camp. Car 43, absolutely flying, and you can visibly see him starting to close the gap now into the back of Peter Dane.
John Giddings still in fourth place on the racetrack, followed by Phil Alexander, and then Garry Cooke in car 88. 13's the man up front. Mark Gibbs.
Gibbs the leader, Dane, Brabham, then Giddings. Here's the charge on the outside, driver of car number 41.
He's got it this time, Dane.
See if Gibbs comes back on the inside of him. No, not enough room for that. Now Dane will have to hold that inside line coming out of the corner.
He does it more successfully than David Brabham did a couple of laps earlier.
So the order now reads Dane over Gibbs, with Brabham still closing on the pair of them, and Giddings back in fourth.
Gee, Gibbs is doing a good job in second place at the moment. As you said before, Garry, a very forceful driver, but he's done some thinking about it in the last few meetings, and he's really well positioned now in this round 7. Right in behind Peter Dane. Brakes at the last possible moment. The two of them still maintain the same gap, but again, as we look a little bit further back for third place, you'll see Brabham come into shot here. The black car number 43, John Giddings behind him in 4:39.
With 3 laps to go, can they make ground on the leading pair? That's the question.
Well, Dane has edged away just a little from Gibbs to the top of Skyline. There's the gap. And Brabham all the time, just making up a couple of centimetres per lap. He still has it to do. But out of Dunlop, once again heading down towards Mazda corner, Dane in front and opening all the time over Gibbs and Brabham. The radial's getting a good working out here in the Goodyear Car Owners Club Lacer Series. To the lake corner again, and Gibbs a little closer to the right-hander. Here he closes under brakes. Both identical line coming out of that corner, and there's Brabham still there. So that excursion off the track cost him dearly. Cost him one place, but a lot of ground. Giddings goes through. They're the front-running 4, with a couple of laps still to run.
Yes, 2 to go, Mike. And Peter Dane really is doing it quite comfortably now. Gibbs, as you said, does close up through the corners under brakes, but really just doesn't seem to quite have the same straight line speed as Dane, and therefore Dane is able to clear out, as you can see there, by about two and a half car lengths, and that's really quite comfortable driving for him. To apply the pressure, Gibbs needs to be right on his bumper. He gets close under these circumstances, but once they straighten up, Dane again draws away. And in fact, Gibbs didn't close up through the lake corner that time.
Should have the last lap board out this time as they come through Wonderlick Corner, and there it is, heading up Bitchapave Hill for the final time. Dane still over Gibbs, Brabham back in third, and Giddings fourth. Looks like that's the way they're going to finish, Garry, as they drop into Dunlop Loop.
Yes, Dane's broken clear now.
They stay the way they are. At the completion of round 7 of the series, Peter Dane would move ahead by 1 point because Ken Douglas didn't get a start in the point-scoring heat today. We saw what happened to him a little earlier, and Mark Gibbs would move up to third with 47 points, so a spread of just 4 points between the top 3 when they go to the next round next weekend at Oran Park, which would be very interesting.
To Honda Corner for the final time, and Peter Dane in the Westline Ford entry heads down to the Lake Corner for the last occasion. Not too far back behind him, Mark Gibbs, who led this race for a period. And back behind them in third is David Brabham, who also led it for a period. The last corner now comes up, Wonderlick Corner, and checkered flag is out. And coming up to take the checker, it's going to be Peter Dane. Gibbs is going to take second. Looks like Brabham third across the strike, and John Giddings is going to finish in fourth place. Well, an entertaining race, full of incidents and full of action too, particularly in the opening couple of laps. Cars drop over the top. And let's have a look at how they finish. Dane the winner, second place going to Gibbs, and third place going to David Brabham.
All happening out here at Amaroo Park this afternoon as Peter Dane receives his just rewards after winning round 7 of the Goodyear Car Owners Club Lacer Series here at Amaroo Park this afternoon. Chris, you're going to do the honours there with the sash and the trophy for Peter after what was a very exciting round indeed. And as far as the series is concerned, it might disappoint him to know, Peter, that you're still 1 point behind Ken Douglas overall. I didn't even realise until they'd gone a couple of laps that he actually got his car back together after that little mishap this morning. Started from the rear of the grid there and snuck in 9th place. That gives him 2 points, so he's 1 point ahead of you in the overall series. Well, sneaky man.
He is a sneaky man, yeah, but I don't know, my mob down there saying that we're in front of him. I don't know. We'll
is that right?
Later.
No, he's not. I got news for you.
Oh, well,
we'll get him next time, will you?
Next time, yeah.
I'll tell you what, there was a bit of fun and excitement out there. Young David Brabham doesn't take kindly to people trying to get past him on the track, and
you noticed too.
Well, I've noticed the same about you.
Oh,
but
I know what you're talking about.
He was very adventurous about it, wasn't he?
Yeah, he went off a little way. But, no, we all had a good race. I don't think there's too many body panels swapping, and we all had a good race.
Well, I think it was a little bit fortunate it turned out that way because there was a bit of damage in the earlier heat today, wasn't there?
Yeah, we were lucky enough to miss out on that, and I say lucky because that's the only way you missed it.
Yeah.
It was wet this morning. It just wasn't very nice to be racing. Anyway, it's all right now.
The racing in this series, earlier in this series, seemed to be a lot closer. Now there seem to be 2 divisions. There are half a dozen cars up front fighting it out that have got a fair break on the rest of the field.
Yeah, the first couple of meetings, I think the same front runners have pretty well been all the way through, but it's perhaps a little bit more spread now because the cars are getting all closely developed. There's nothing between Mark's car and my car and Dave's car and another couple. So, there's nothing to worry about. They're all pretty right.